Is death the end of existence or a beginning of something new? Death is neither an ending nor a beginning. For an awakened mind, death is a pure illusion. For the one who's asleep, it is an absolute mystery. The one who is awakened does not think about death at all. There is no need to think about it. Why to think about something that is considering the nature of reality, considering what life is, an impossibility? Many things, even when we are absolutely sure that it can never happen, there is a possibility of them happening. But death cannot even be a possibility. If you understand what life is, if you understand the nature of reality, then you will see the only thing that is not possible is death. Because what is death in our definition? It is an end. It is not just the end of the body. We don't even make a separation between the body and the mind and the spirit. For us, everything we are is encapsulated in this body, and when the body dies, everything we are dies with it. What if the most important thing, what we know and what we feel, what we experience as us, has nothing to do with the body? What if aliveness is a totally different dimension? It need not even be something totally transcendental. It can just be a dimension other than the three dimensions you are experiencing. Just like time. We know time does not belong to the three dimensions we experience. Time moves on a completely different dimension we don't have access to. If you could access that dimension, then you can move between your past and future. Just like you're able to move through the three-dimensional space, you can move through time. The reason why we cannot go to our past, we can only recollect what has happened as a memory. We cannot go into the future, we can only speculate about it. The only thing that we can experience is the present moment. We never go anywhere other than the present moment. We are stuck here. Why? Because we simply don't have access to this other dimension. But we know without any doubt that this other dimension exists. All you have to do is just live a little longer. You would have passed through that realm. But as far as your body is concerned, that other dimension is totally non-existential because your body cannot enter that space. But your memory tells you that there is something beyond what I'm experiencing now. There is a depth to this moment. That is what I experience as past and future. It is not a movement from left to right or top to down. Moving through time is an entirely different dimension. That is why you experience it very differently from how you experience movement through space. The memory of it is different. The recollection of it is different. Now, what if death is simply this inaccessible dimension of life? What if death is not an end of something, but simply you getting access to that other dimension that has always been a part of you? Because you were conditioned to hold on to the body, you had created a way of living, a way of moving, a way of acting that is completely attached to the body. This other dimension was totally beyond your reach. Every time you try to reach it, your body blocks it because your body is stuck in this 3 dimension. If you are able to drop the body, you can experience that dimension right here, right now. Now, that is what happens in enlightenment. That is what sometimes accidentally happens in near-death experience. You are given a glimpse of that other dimension, which is as much a part of life as everything else. What if death is simply a hidden component of life? Then the whole meaning of death changes. It is not the end of something. It is not the end of consciousness, because that is what we think death is. Death of the body is death of consciousness, death of aliveness. But what if consciousness and aliveness belong to a totally different dimension? And at that moment of death, you are simply becoming one with it. Then, because death is a totally imagined concept of the body, of the mind, it is neither the beginning nor the ending. Depending on where you are, death is real or unreal. If you are stuck in your mind, if you are asleep in your body, then death is real for you. But actually, not for you, but for that other identity that you have accepted as you. Your false identity. Body is your false identity. Mind is your false identity. Why is it so difficult to understand this? Because of where you are. From the point of view that is available to you, death is an absolute reality. You are moving towards it. You can see everything moving towards it. You can see everything living moving towards death. Death is abundant, it's common, it's all around you. Every single creature dies. Now, that is what creates this feeling that it has to be real. If my friends can die, if my family members can die, if so many who have come before me have died, if my pet can die, then for sure I will also die. It is a false conclusion. What you are seeing and experiencing is death of form, the body. You know nothing about what happens to the actual entity that is inside. You know your dog is dead. You've buried it. You're crying about it. But can you be certain that it is dead? Can you prove with absolute certainty that this dog is not continuing to live, continuing to dream, and you are a part of its life? It has just woken up as if nothing has happened. And you are sitting and crying but it is going about its life in exactly the same way. It is impossible to prove this because we don't have access to the inside of others. The only way to prove this, the only way to conclusively prove to yourself that death is an illusion is to experience it inside you. There is no other way. No machine can measure this because all our machines, all our inventions stop at the body and the mind. They cannot independently measure aliveness, measure consciousness, because measuring itself requires aliveness, requires consciousness. Now, this is the problem. The problem is we do not understand how fundamental consciousness is to life. Because it is so fundamental, nothing can exist without it. Nothing can happen without it. Even when you say nothing, nothing to whom? When I say, I sat in meditation and there was nothing, is that a true statement? How can it be a true statement? If you are experiencing nothing, yes, that means there are no thoughts. That means there are no body sensations. That means you're not thinking about eating ice cream. But you are there. In every experience, there is an observer. There is a watcher. It is only in our imagination that we drop this observer and go alone. In reality, you cannot drop this observer. This observer is the reality. This observer is truth. That is why death is an absolute reality in imagination. But in actuality, it is nothing. So every time you imagine your body and what's going to happen to the body, you're getting old, someday it's going to die. What are you doing in that thought process? You are actually moving away from the present moment and you're imagining. And that is how you witnessed every death. When something dies, when someone dies, what are you experiencing? You're not experiencing death. You are experiencing your imagination ending. You have created wonderful memories with your dog. Now that is ending because the form is ending. Now that is what you're perceiving as death. In the vast realm of your dreaming, some dreams end. Some characters move away. It is a natural part of life. It is the process through which dreaming happens. New characters come, old ones go away, and some go away in the middle. Some don't go even if you want them to go. It's a part of your dreaming process. Now, what you are recognizing as death is simply the end of that imagination cycle. For whatever reason, you no longer have access to play with that part of your imagination. It has come to an end. And where are you experiencing this? In your mind. And when you are experiencing this, you are always either in the past or in the future. Never in the present moment. To think about death, to contemplate on death, to worry about death, to feel sad about death, you have to move away from the present moment. The more rooted you are in the present moment, the more nonsensical it seems to worry about death. Because you are in the realm of aliveness. You know, as long as you are in the present moment, death is just an imaginary concept.